want to tell you about Joseph Hunter. Ryan's grandfather's name was Joseph Hunter Byrd. He is a direct descendant, as is Ryan. And it goes back in this direction. Joseph Hunter Byrd, who was Ryan's grandfather, was the son of Joseph Hunter Byrd. He was my father also. And his mother was Sally Minerva Hunter, then Joseph Hunter, Abraham Hunter, Joseph Hunter, and Joseph Hunter. And the one I want to talk with you about is the first Joseph Hunter, who was born in Antrim, Northern Ireland in 1730 and came to this country about 1756 to 1760. And he did not have an easy life. He lived on the frontier of the land in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which was then the frontier. And he moved progressively further west. He was one of the first settlers of Louisville, Kentucky. And he was also at Fort Jefferson, which was where Thomas Jefferson sent people to occupy a fort at the confluence of the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. And they had a terribly hard time. They were constantly being besieged. He moved back into Louisville, and he unfortunately witnessed one son being killed by Indians, along with his wife and his daughter. He died in 1794. Why did he come? And the answer is that he came for religious freedom. That was to him and to many of the people at the time the most important thing that was there. And these are not well-known people, but Joseph Hunter wrote a letter to a cousin, and in this letter he states the following. This was regarding Indian attacks occurring in Carlisle, Pennsylvania at that time, where people were being killed. It says, "For my part, I am at a loss of what to do. I have 6 small, helpless children, and are in one of the frontier houses in town. And yet I could this day with the greatest cheerfulness go to the field of battle if I thought I could lend the least aid to secure that invaluable privilege, that is, civil and religious liberty, which is the noblest enjoyment this side of heaven." This is not somebody famous. This was somebody who struggled all of his life. He lies in an unmarked grave someplace in the wilds of northern Kentucky. He left wonderful descendants who were able to create a great deal on their own. But if people ask why did they do this, it wasn't for gain. It wasn't that he was coming for personal aggrandizement. It was for the ideals of liberty to which he was willing to sacrifice everything, including his life. And his son fought in the American Revolution. He contributed in the American Revolution. All of the people who fought, in many instances, were pretty young. The average age of the American soldier was 17, 18, 19 years old. They were city kids, farm kids mostly, and they went through enormous privation. And they did it so that their children and grandchildren would have blessings of liberty. Those documents that we have, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, people today do not realize how revolutionary they were at the time. There were 2 enormously revolutionary concepts embodied in those documents. They were that ordinary people have the right and capability of governing themselves. Hardly anyone believed that. You had to have a strong leader, a king, a dictator. People were not capable of governing themselves. And what this document said, and what we have proved in this nation, is that yes, we can. The second is that we have the right of individual liberties not granted by a king, not granted by a government, but innate. They come innately. This is the meaning behind that. And that is that those documents tell us that these are innate. They come from the eternal. They come from God. They come from whatever your concept is of that. This is Alexander Hamilton writing in 1775, saying that the sacred rights of mankind are not to be found in musty documents or old papers. They are written as with a sunbeam in the whole volume of human nature by the hand of the divinity itself, and can never be erased. That's what they were fighting for. Most of the revolutionary soldiers lie in unmarked graves. They were not wealthy people. And when they were asked, when they were old and sick and applying for pensions, they were asked, why did you do it? And the answer was, so that our children and grandchildren could have the blessings of liberty. Who are their children and grandchildren? We are, because we're literal descendants. But everyone living in this country is their descendant. All of us are the inheritors of the dream. Thank you.